Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be working through 6 problems related to the product rule. We're just going to be using the product rule to calculate the derivative of 6 functions here. This is a follow-up to my product rule video. Feel free to give it a look before attempting the problems in this video. I've linked it down in the description below. With that, let's just jump right in. Alright, so for number 1 here, I have y equals 3x squared minus 1, all multiplied by x squared plus 5x plus 2. Okay, and as step 1 here, we're just going to pick one of these to be f and the other to be g. Again, it's totally arbitrary, doesn't matter which one you call f and which one you call g. I'll call this one f and this one g. Okay. Then to take the derivative, we are just going to go ahead and apply our product rule. So y prime is equal to f, so 3x squared minus 1 times the derivative of g. And again, here we just have to apply our power rule separately to each one. So derivative of this part is derivative of this piece, so 2x plus derivative of 5x, which is just 5, and derivative of a constant is 0, so we're good. Our plus g of x, right? So here we go, g of x squared plus 5x plus 2 multiplied by f prime of x, so derivative of this piece right here, which using the power rule again comes out to 6x. Alright, so now we can go ahead and FOIL through this. So this equals, I'm just going to FOIL that there. So 6x cubed plus 15x squared minus 2x and minus 5 plus same deal here, right? So we're going to get a 6x squared plus, 6x cubed, right? Because 6x times x squared. And then 5x times 6x, so that would be a 30x squared. And finally plus a 12x. All right, and just combining like terms there, we should get 12x cubed plus a 45x squared plus a 10x and minus 5. So there you go. That would be your answer for the first one. Okay, and with that, I'll move on to number 2. So I have y equals x to the negative 2 multiplied by 4 plus 3x to the negative 3. Okay, and again, I'm just going to randomly choose an f and g. Okay, and there we go. So to take the derivative, we have y prime equals f, so that's x to the negative 2, times the derivative of g, so that would give us, let's see, a negative 9x to the negative 4th. I just applied the power rule to this term right here, actually, because the derivative of 4 constant is 0. Then we have our plus sign plus g, so 4 plus 3x to the negative 3 times the derivative of f. So here that will give us a negative 2x to the negative 3. Okay, and then we can just clean this up a bit. So we should, when we multiply these two terms right here, we should get a negative 9x to the negative 6. Again, when we multiply like bases, we just add the exponents. So negative 2 plus negative 4 is negative 6. And we have our plus sign, and then we go ahead and FOIL out this term, right, in these two. So that should give us negative 2x. I'm sorry, not a negative 2x. Negative 2 times 4, which is negative 8, and then x to the negative 3. And then minus negative 2 times 3, so 6x, and then again add your exponents. So that's negative 6. Okay, and then we just finally clean that up a little bit, and we get negative 15x to the negative 6th minus 8x to the negative 3. Again, all I did was just combine like terms there. So as we see, these two terms right here both have an x to the negative 6th in them. So when we combine a negative 9 and a negative 6, we get a negative 15 right here, and then we just have our negative 8x to the negative 3. So that would be our derivative. Okay, moving right along, I'm going to put up number 3. And number 3 involves a little bit of trig. So we have y equals x squared times sine of x. Okay, don't be intimidated by the trig. Essentially our process will be the same. So shake the derivative. Again, before we do that, I'll just call this term f and this term g. Right, we have two functions. We just have to assign one f and one g. So again, our y prime will be f times the derivative of g. So the derivative of sine is cosine, right? So cosine x plus our g, so that would be our sine x, and again times the derivative of f, which, apply the power rule, right, is just 2x. And we can clean this up a little bit, right? I usually like to write the smaller term in front of the trig, so x squared cos x plus 2x times sine x. And then from this point, you can go ahead and just pull out an x if you would like. So we can rewrite this as x. Again, we're just pulling out an x from each term here, from both of these terms. So we'll be left with an x cosine x here, and plus a 2 sine x over there. Again, you didn't really need to do that last step, but either of these answers here would be perfectly fine. So moving right along. Okay, so for number 4 here, getting a slightly more complex, we have y equals e to the x 7 minus rad x. Okay, so not to be intimidated by the e or the rad, again, our process is going to be exactly the same. Just here we need to recognize we have two functions that are being multiplied with each other, or two terms, right? So we have this term right here, and it's being multiplied by this entire term here. So again, we'll just call the first one f and the next one g, and go from there. And for me, sometimes it helps to just rewrite radicals as exponents so that we can apply our power rule when we take the derivative. So I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite this as e to the x times 7 minus x to the 1/2. Again, x to the 1/2 is the same as square root of x. Okay, and now we can go ahead and apply the product rule. Okay, so we have y prime is equal to f, which is e to the x, times the derivative of g. So applying the power rule there, we have negative 1/2 x to the negative 1/2. Right, so the way I did that, derivative of a constant is 0, then we're left with negative x to the 1/2. Pull down the 1/2, so we have negative 1/2 x, and then just reduce that exponent by 1. So basic power rule. Okay, back to this. So plus, then we have g of x. So that term right there. So 7 minus x to the 1/2. All multiplied by f prime of x. And again, the derivative of e to the x is just e to the x. So there we go. Okay, now we're just left to simplify, right? So we're just going to multiply this out. Again, I like to have the constants out in front. So negative 1/2 e to the x, and then x to the negative 1/2. And we have, we're just going to FOIL this one out, right? Or distribute it out. So we have plus 7e to the x, and then we have a minus e to the x, x to the 1/2. Okay, and at this point, you're pretty much good. If you want, you could pull out an e to the x, right? So you can have e to the x, and then, I'm sorry, I think this is out of the screen here. yeah, I'll just box this for now, and then I will erase this up here to show you the simplified form. Again, if we pull out e to the x, I have e to the x, negative 1/2 x to the negative 1/2, plus 7, right, because e to the x is taken out, and then minus an x to the 1/2. Okay, so again, this is an alternative form of the answer. Again, either one is perfectly acceptable. All right, so for number 5, we have a little bit of a lengthy one. We have y equals x plus 8 raised to the 4th times sine of 3x. Okay, again, we just have to realize here that we have two functions being multiplied to each other. So we know we have to use the product rule to find the derivative of this entire thing. I'm just going to call this one f and this one g. Okay, let's jump right in. So y prime is going to be f, so this whole thing, x plus 8 raised to the 4th, times the derivative of g. So here, we're just going to call upon our knowledge of trig derivatives and chain rule here. So the derivative of sine is cosine, so we get cosine 3x, and by the chain rule we have to multiply a 3. All right, derivative of the inside here, so we get a 3 times cosine x. Okay, moving on within our product rule, we have a plus our g of x, which is sine of 3x, multiplied by f prime of x. So derivative here, again, we need our chain rule, so times 4x plus 8, all raised to the 3rd, and then we should multiply by the derivative of the inside. Here it happens to be 1, right, because derivative of 8 is 0 and x is 1, so we don't need to go ahead and multiply anything there. But, right, so we can just clean this up a bit. And again, if you're unfamiliar with the chain rule, I've done a video on that as well. I'll link it down in the description below. Feel free to reference it. Right, but for now, we'll just clean this up. So we get a, let's see where to begin here. So x plus 8 to the 4th times, we'll bring this 3 out here. This 3 we'll just rewrite there. Cosine of 3x. Plus, we'll bring that constant out front. Again, you don't need to, just my style of writing it. X plus 8 cubed times sine of 3x. Right. Okay. So I believe that is it for that one. Again, you could really just leave it at this too. It's all the same thing. I've just simplified it down. All right, great. We'll finish up here with one last one, number 6. And we have y equals x cubed times the natural log of x. Again, recognize two functions being multiplied to each other. It should ring a bell that we're supposed to use the product rule to take the derivative. Again, don't be intimidated by the natural log. Our process is going to be exactly the same. So again, y prime is equal to f x cubed, right, times the derivative of g. The derivative of natural log of x is 1 over x, right? Plus g of x, which is ln x, times f prime of x, which is, using the power rule, 3x squared. All right, great. Just clean this up. So an x cubed times a 1 over x, essentially we're just going to cancel one of the x's out here. So we're left with an x squared plus 3x squared times ln x, right? I've just brought the 3x squared out in front of the ln x. So again, this is a perfectly acceptable answer. We can also clean this up a little bit more and pull out an x squared term. So we have an x squared multiplied by 1 plus, and since we're pulling out an x squared from each term, right, from this term, we'll just be left with 3 times natural log of x. Okay, and that's also perfectly acceptable, either one. So that's it for this video. If this video helped you guys out, I would really appreciate if you guys could just hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Hope this helped, and see you guys soon.